Good morning. Hello, this is Lily from Tag. Can you hear us? Anyone? We are testing if you are able to hear us. Okay, very good. Thank you. So we are waiting for the other colleagues and presenters to come online, and then we will start. But you have it all. Ah, Belinda. We have a presentation and then 5 minutes questions and then presentation questions. Okay. No, I think it's a strange format. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Maybe you can give a thumb up in case you hear me, or just give a sign. So I would like to welcome you to this online session. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for the feedback. So I would like to welcome you to this online presentation session on multiple crises. I see that most of the presenters are also logged in. And Aniwa, do you have a question, or I see your hand is raised. You can write it in the chat. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this online presentations will work that we have a recorded presentation by the speakers, and then we have questions from the audience in the room and from you online. So I would like my colleague here to play the first presentation by Farai Alice Vuelo, I hope I pronounced it correctly, on digital transformation of smallholder agriculture, enrollment of smallholder farmers into global production and marketing paradigms.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farai Guello, and I'll be...
Just give us a second, we started again. So we start now the recorded presentation for you to see and hear. If there's any problem, let us know on the chat. And we started now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farai Guello, and I'll be speaking about the digital transformation of smallholder agriculture in South Africa, and specifically on how mobile apps enroll smallholder farmers into global production and marketing paradigms, as well as the implications of those enrollments. South Africa is increasing focus on agriculture digitalization to drive transformation within the smallholder agricultural sector in order to address the historical neglect of smallholder farmers. However, Evidence from past agricultural transformations, such as the Green Revolution, show us that new technologies that are not well fitted to the context of smallholder farmers fail to benefit these farmers. Hence, with the digital revolution in South Africa, there are concerns that digitalization will only benefit the large-scale farmers and corporations, extending their control and domination over smallholder farmers. And this would diminish smallholder farmers' ability to make autonomous decisions regarding their farming paradigms. Hence, this research seeks to contribute to this body of knowledge a critical analysis or critical examination of the ways in which mobile apps are transforming agriculture for smallholder farmers in South Africa. The multiple case study methodology, guided by the critical theory of technology and self-determination theory, was used. 4 mobile apps, 42 smallholder farmers, 4 mobile app administrators, and 1 extension officer were purposefully selected. Data was analyzed using Atlas TI, and themes were generated from the literature as well as from the data. This study found that corporate-backed mobile apps enroll smallholder farmers into high-input production paradigms, such as the good agricultural practices, which requires costly input and skills that smallholder farmers often lack. And this enrollment is done through coercion, where, for example, the Farming Inputs app quotation from the website that we see on there tells us that the Farming Inputs app considers local gap or global gap as a minimum requirement for a farmer to be able to transact on their platform. We also see that farmers that have enrolled into this local gap in order to transact on this platform have failed to realize the benefits of this enrollment and are disgruntled. Hence, this study puts forward that to truly empower smallholder farmers, there must be a fundamental shift in digitalization efforts to prioritize farmers' interests by either creating an enabling external environment for them to succeed within these new production paradigms, or alternatively, to support farmers to thrive within their existing contexts. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Alice. And I don't know if the person is actually online, the presenter. Maybe you should stand like this. Cover up this. Is Farai Alice Guelo online? Maybe hidden behind another name. Okay, I think she's not. So I'm afraid we cannot really ask many questions. But if you have a question, in case you can reach out to her through the app, the WOA app, or maybe also by sending her an email about it. So now we would like to play the recorded presentation by Aniwa, who is actually fortunately there, and we are very happy to see you in the audience. And the presentation is about transformation of the Ghanaian cocoa system, a multi-level perspective.
My name is Aniwa Wachidankwa, and together with Reinhard Tillman.
Play it again. Okay. Thank you.
My name is Aniwa. Challenges continue to persist. Aniwa Wachidankwa, and together with Reinhard Tillman, I present to you the transformation of Ghanaian cocoa system using a multi-level perspective. The main objective of this research was to explore the potential of the innovations in the cocoa value chain to cause a transformation in the Ghanaian cocoa industry. The theoretical framework used for this research was the multi-level perspective, which comprises of the landscape, which characterizes the changes and trends in society, the regime, which is the mainstream society that is supported by social norms and integrated systems, and lastly, the niche, which are specialized areas where ideas and innovations develop and evolve outside the mainstream. A qualitative exploratory design was used in this research, which involved 12 participants across the Ghanaian cocoa value chain. This research was carried out in the Eastern, Ashanti, and Greater Accra regions of Ghana. The results showed that Ghana continues to produce premium quality cocoa beans due to the measures put in place by the government to ensure that farmers are provided with extension services right from seedling to harvest and fermentation and drying. The Ghana Cocoa Board is solely responsible for the pricing of cocoa beans in Ghana. Cocoa farmers continue to live in poverty. Many continue to live below the poverty line. Despite government's efforts to ensure the growth of local industries, majority of cocoa beans are exported. Regardless, there are a few successful and budding chocolate factories currently in Ghana. Unreliable power supply, cost of processing chocolate locally, and competition with foreign products are the main challenges faced by the local processing industry. In conclusion, poverty remains prevalent among many cocoa farmers in Ghana. This poses a threat to the sustainability of the industry. Additionally, several challenges continue to persist in the Ghanaian cocoa processing industry. The promotion of chocolate consumption should not be left to the government alone. Stakeholders in the industry should also participate in the consumption of locally manufactured chocolates. Geographical indication, organic cocoa, and agrotourism can be explored as a means to ensure sustainability as well as earn revenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aniwa. Are there any questions from the audience, both in the room and online? Aniwa, you want to share something in addition? Unfortunately, the audio is very low and we could barely hear you. So if you want to add anything, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. I think that's just the summary of the presentation. So unless anybody has a question for me,
Good to see
I'm
you.
good. Yeah, nice to see you too.
Good. I don't know. Okay. So maybe you can stay online and maybe question will arise afterwards. Maybe we can have a small round of question in the end again. Okay,
All
then,
right.
thank you so much. Then we can show the presentation of Sarah and Yola.
Good day, everyone. My name is Eniola Siro.
Okay. Is Sarah on?
Good day, everyone. My name is Eniola Siro Opeyemi, and together with my co-author, I welcome you all to this poster presentation on assessing the multidimensional effects of migration on the output of farming household in southwest Nigeria. Over time, research has shown link between migration and agricultural production, and commonly the effects of financial dimension of migration on output has been explored. Hence, this research aims to assess other dimensional effects of migration on farming household output. The research was carried out in Shaki, Oyo State, Nigeria, with 115 farming households with migrants being surveyed using questionnaire, and the data was analyzed using the ordinary least square regression method. In this research, the dimensions of migration explored are the social dimensions, having the attributes including access to markets, insurance, information on health, and association membership. Then we have the technical dimensions with attributes including access to production inputs, improved technologies, value addition, and improved agronomy practices. Then we have the financial dimension, which include remittances, financial remittances. So in this research, results showed that most households had access to financial remittances when compared to social and technical remittances. These financial remittances was averaged to be 8,000 in Nigerian currency per month and were mainly used for non-agricultural purposes. Also, estimate of the multidimensional effect of migration on output shows that households with larger farms have higher farming experience, have other form of occupation and belonging to a cooperative association achieve higher output when compared to those families with smaller farms and the rest. Financial remittances was found to reduce output by 13%, likely due to the fact that these remittances were used for non-agricultural purposes, whereas social remittances increased production by 22% and technical improvements suggest potential gains, despite being statistically insignificant. In conclusion, the output of farming households is influenced by migration beyond financial remittance, with social and technical remittances contributing positively to production, and migration can enhance output of farming households through knowledge transfer, access to new techniques, and other attributes as mentioned. Hence, policy that enhance farmland access, foster community initiative, and support agricultural households amidst migration challenges should be encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Sarah is online, so the question for her. You can write it in the chat or even turn on your mic and ask directly a question to Sarah. So maybe I have a question. I was wondering, why are people migrating? What is the reason, and where exactly was your study in Nigeria? Because now you hear a lot about migration from the north towards the south because of the unrest in the northern part of the country. Where in Nigeria were you looking at? What was your study area?
All right, hello everyone. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right, so the study was carried out in Shaki. Shaki is a town in Oyo State, Nigeria, which is part of the southwestern part of Nigeria. So the major reason why people migrated, as discovered from the research, was because of job opportunities and educational purposes. And the destination of this migration was majorly found to be rural areas, other rural towns and urban towns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So it is people with farming experiences mostly, if they come from other rural areas.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
You said they are coming from other rural areas, so they have previous farming experiences.
Yes, for those that migrated to other rural areas, we're also still for farming purposes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Other questions from the audience? Okay, I see also that Farai has joined us. Farai, we have shown your presentation already. So maybe at the end of the session, we can ask the audience if there are any questions to your presentation, if that's okay for you. Okay.
Yes,
That sounds okay. Thank you. My apologies. I was in another session. I had two posters showing within the same, more or less the same slot.
Okay. Okay, that explains. So thank you very much for joining now. And as I said, we will gather the questions for after the other presentations. Okay, so then we will play the recorded presentation by Belinda. on urban expansion and the impact of sustainable food production, the case of Dodowa in Ghana.
Hello, thank you for joining this session. Hello, thank you for joining this session. My name is Belinda Nasa Kojabing, and my presentation is on urban expansion and its impact on sustainable food production, a case study of Dodowa, Ghana. A great fraction of global population can be found in urban areas. In the case of sub-Saharan Africa, trends suggest exponential growth of urban population, of which urban areas are growing beyond their boundaries into rural towns, which are typically agricultural communities. One of these towns in Ghana, which is close to the capital city Accra, is experiencing such phenomena. As such, our research objective is to understand the impact of urban expansion on food production. By this, we used both primary and secondary data. Questionnaires were administered to households in Dodowa. Additionally, GIS and remote sensing techniques were used to understand the extent of sprawl within a 22-year span. Based from the survey analysis, it was revealed that within a 22-year span, that's from 2002 to 2024, there's an increase in built-up areas, where the built-up areas are indicated with red. This means that there's been encroachment into vegetation and farmlands. The study also reveals that the major staples in Dodowa are cereals and tubers, of which maize is most consumed. Also, urban expansion has impacted food price, of which food price have significantly shot up, whilst food quantity has reduced. In conclusion, the study highlights the negative impact of urban expansion on food security. The study recommends a collaborative effort between traditional land tenure systems and government agencies to control the spread of urban areas into farmlands and also the natural environment to preserve biodiversity. Also, there's the need for additional studies to identify potential livelihood changes in such communities and the potential change in choices of food with the likely change in demographics. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for this nice presentation, Belinda. Nice to see you online. Thank you for turning on your video. Now you're muted. Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
So we'd like to ask if there are questions in the audience. Okay, there's one question in the room, so.
And I was just wondering if the settlements you have now described, which are spreading in that area, do they have also kitchen gardens or small gardens? So I could also imagine that there might be intensified agricultural production. So I was just asking myself how you quantify the amount of produce within your study.
I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear that because there's a lot of echoing in the background. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I couldn't hear the question because there was a lot of echoing.
Yeah, please come. Maybe please come over.
We try again.
Okay.
Hello, Belinda. It's about the settlements you have described. And
Yes.
I was wondering if in the settlements is also gardening or other vegetable production used. because it could mean that there's intensified production in these areas where the people now are encroaching. So I would like to know how you quantify the amount of produce in your study.
Okay, I didn't get the last part, but typically in Ghana or in most of these peripheral areas, they are smallholder farmers. So they produce in smaller quantities and just sell to the available market. So they use very primitive or let's say simple tools in producing. So in the other states, most of these lands are hired to these farmers. Not all of them own them. So these built up areas that you see are lands bought from the chiefs or the landowners at a better deal than the farmers can afford. So then they lose these lands to the farmers. I'm sorry, to the residents or the commercial people. The other thing is this research sought to look at it from the household perspective rather than from the farmer's perspective, where although we used remote sensing and GIS to see the extent of built infrastructure over a 22-year span, we want to see how the residents are responding to this change in terms of food. I mentioned that maize is most consumed there, and maize generally isn't so expensive, but now there's a change in food price where food is expensive. This is because of the encroachment into these farmlands, and they are not producing more than they should to even meet the growing population in the district. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, second part of the question was how do you quantify the produce? How did you quantify in your study the produce of the farmers, or
How do I?
quantify the produce?
Okay, so then the study was based on, as I mentioned, it was based on the household take on food production as against what the farmers. The urban expansion was to just see the extent of built up areas into these places and use the household experience to really tell what is going on. So
Right.
not from the farmer's perspective, but from the household's perspective.
And the households, they migrated there in the last 20.
Yes, some migrated there in the last 5 years, some migrated in the last 15, and there are some indigenes also living there. But most of the people have migrated.
And they came for better job opportunities.
So from the research, most of them moved to this town for better housing because most of them were living in the city and they were expensive and the housing wasn't the best. So they got better opportunities, better housing facility in Dodowa. So then they moved there and the rent is cheaper and the houses too are also, the lands are cheaper to buy and build.
So the farmers get some rent from renting out the houses now.
Pardon me?
The farmers get some rent from the new people coming in by
Okay, so
renting and selling their land.
okay, so the thing with the land system in Ghana is that chiefs own lands, families own lands, and the government also has a portion of land. In the case, majority of the lands are either owned by the chiefs and the families, so they sell the land. In the case of some farmers, some have gotten some parcels of land based on inheritance. Some too, because as I mentioned, they are smallholder farmers. They acquire extra lands from these stools and these chiefs and families in addition, so they can farm more, and it's on a lease basis. However, in a situation where an individual or a commercial body or a business owner comes to offer a bigger bid for those lands, the families or the chiefs end up giving these lands to them at a higher price because it's a better bargain for them at the expense of the farmers.
Okay, thank you for this clarification, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I would invite my colleague to play the next presentation by Shinran Wan. I probably haven't. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shinran. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Xinran Wang. On behalf of all co-authors, I want to introduce our research, analysis of challenges and opportunity for upscaling the organic fertilizer industry in Kenya. The application of organic fertilizer is considered a feasible solution to restore low soil quality in response to intrinsic poor soil condition and overuse of chemical fertilizers, getting rid of threats on food security and other external disturbance. However, the development of the organic fertilizer industry is still confronting a lot of challenges, and corresponding strategy are needed. In this research, we want to understand the perspectives held by relevant stakeholders regarding the key development barriers and proposed measurement for improvement. To understand this, Q methodology was adopted to review their perspectives. It's a method combining qualitative and quantitative method to identify participants' subjectivities. The participants are requested to answer the focal question by ranking the provided statement. Here, Figure 1 shows an example of the ranking results. To ensure the diversity of participants, 18 participants from 5 stakeholder groups were invited. They are from 4 counties in Kenya with different political support for the organics-related topic, shown in the Figure 2. As a result, 3 perceptions were extracted, and each perception shared quite similar opinion for the key barriers in proposed measure for improvement. Across perception, on one hand, there are some overlaps among the 3 perceptions, shown in the green circle. On the other hand, the red circle shows their different opinion. Here, I summarize the major strategies that might help for upscaling the organic fertilizer in Kenya, linked by the multiple stakeholders to blend chemical fertilizer and organic ones. Multi-level governance and engaged stakeholders should all take action through a lot of means. However, rather than this general suggestion, the particular approaches should be carefully tailored by taking contextual factors into considerations. For example, what are the available resources for the organic fertilizer production, and how to tailor the needs for particular crop or soil profile. So thank you very much, and all comments are very, very welcome.
Thank you very much for this nice presentation. And you are here. Shiran,
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry, I was looking in the different tables, so I couldn't see you. But can you turn on your camera in case your internet connection allows?
Yes. Hello.
Good morning. Good. Are there questions from the colleagues online and in the room?
Yes, I have a question.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yeah, hello, I'm Catherine from University Kaiserslautern-Landau in Germany, and a very nice presentation. And the question is, which kind of materials frequently used as organic fertilizer? There are waste from crops, or what is used?
I think they have like a combination of different resources for produce the organic fertilizer. For example, like if you, I mean, there are different kinds of organic fertilizer in Kenya now, like some kinds of the home produced fertilizer. So it include the traditional manure or compost, but they also have the bokashi, is a new kind of home produced organic fertilizer, so they can just reuse I think mainly the waste around, so they can recycle the waste and to produce organic fertilizer. But I also hear someone can use the more organic things, for example, like except for the waste from the agricultural farming, they also try to add some the woods to make the organic fertilizer not as smelly. So I think for the home produce, they somehow just mix different kinds of waste or they can add some woods to make the resource recycle themselves. But for the commercialized organic fertilizer, I think it depends on the location. Like the company will tend to use the resources they can have access to, for example, like the manure from some animal. But if there are some location, maybe they don't have manure, maybe they also need to think about this, because like transporting the manure from other area will cost a lot. So I think the resource of producing organic fertilizer, it depends on the different location and what kind of resources you have access to. So I think the answer could be there are a lot of things.
Yeah, this is the question, because if you think they're using their own resources, at the end you have a huge variability in the material used for organic fertilizer, and this will also affect the quality of the end product or the quality of the soil, and at the end the perception, because if you with the organic fertilizer you modify the nitrogen inputs in the soil, and this will affect the plant fitness and maybe productivity or plant disease or whatever. So this is also a question if you join your study also by measuring soil or plant indicators.
Yes, actually, I think that will be the like direction for the next step, because I think, for example, if they produce by themselves, by the farmer themselves, they somehow cannot consider this. They just use the material which they can get. But I think for the commercial organic fertilizer, this will be a big direction for them, because like if they can produce the organic fertilizer more fit on the local, like the locality or like the particular crops that are more popular in the area, I think there will be increase the users' motivation to adopt the organic fertilizer. But in my study, I cannot touch on that way, because my study is more like a first step. We tend to hear the voice from more stakeholder groups. But I think like the more specific direction should be done in the next step.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. Are there more questions from the online participants? Okay, then I might have a question. It was very nice to see that you used the Q methodology, very interesting and innovative. I think it's a very nice way to approach studies. But did you find also, did you interact also with livestock keepers? Was that one of your respondent groups or stakeholders you found yourself interacting with? So stakeholders, I mean, livestock keepers that could provide the manure to the farmers.
I did not talk to them directly, but I hear something from farmers I talk with, because the farmers also say that
if they buy the manure from the life keeper directly, it could be very expensive. So that's why they also developed the new kind of organic fertilizer, which can be produced by the farmer. So they use the wounds instead of the manure, but it can also just like provide some fungi or something. So I mean that they already find some replacement, so they don't need to buy the manure in some area. But I have to say, like, the farmer also told me that in some area they don't have the custom to have the animal, so which give them just like which make them very difficult to buy the manure, or maybe the manure is too expensive for them. So I think there will be more options to deal with this, like to replace manure with other things. So the overall cost of producing and using organic fertilizer can be reduced.
Yes, I was wondering because in some countries it's common that farmers and livestock keepers, they exchange grains for manure, for example, or you can allow the animals to graze on the crop residues, and they stay overnight, and then of course they release their droppings on the fields, which then provide fertilizer in the same as an exchange for the use of the crop residues. I was wondering if you observed in your study area something of this kind, but
my answer is like I did see some farmers, they have animal, but that kind of farmer, they have not produced that kind of newly home produced organic fertilizer. They still keep the traditional way. They use the manure from their animal to produce the compost. But the compost is not that efficient like the new home produced organic fertilizer like the bokashi or the other things developed by another organizations. But I think the newly homemade produced organic fertilizer, they try to replace the manure with other things. Because if you produce using manure, it could be very smelly. So that's why one farmer I visited, they produced a newly organic, home produced organic fertilizer, which is very clean and it's not smelly at all. So I think I did observe some farmers have the animal, but it's not that common.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then we would move on to the last presenter, who unfortunately has not submitted his presentation, and I have not seen him, or I don't see him online. In case,
No, I'm here, hello.
oh, okay. So, because you have an R in front of you. Okay, I'm very sorry. You have your presentation ready and you can present right now?
Yes, I sent my presentation.
You have sent it, you have uploaded on the folder.
Yes, I sent the poster.
Can you tell us where you sent it to, maybe? You sent the poster or the recording of your poster presentation?
Yes, both the poster and the recording.
So in case your internet connection is good enough, could you maybe quickly present your poster now by sharing your screen? That'd be okay, because we have not received it and it's not in the folder of this session. So
Okay, I can share my screen.
okay, that would be perfect. So then we can hear your talk. Please stick to the 3 minutes. And
Okay.
you're welcome to share your screen now.
Can you see my screen now?
Okay, perfect. We see your screen. You can put it in presentation mode. Currently, we see the, okay. It's not in presentation mode yet. Now it is on screen. Thank you. The floor is yours, please. We are listening. So you're playing the audio, I hear, but my colleague is saying that we cannot hear the audio because of the format. So maybe you have to walk. Can you do it like now? Can you walk us through your presentation? Because unfortunately, we cannot hear the audio you recorded. Masoud, can you hear us? Masoud, in case you can hear us. Yes, please. So you are playing a format that we cannot hear the recording with. So the would be you can now currently walk us through the presentation. So without trying to play the audio, because it's not working on this sharing format we are using here at the conference.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, perfectly, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Abdul Rashidi. So it is my pleasure to take you in Africa to understand the positive impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in Africa, the progress toward the sustainable development goals. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has inflicted a lot of challenges in Africa. So it has created a profound social, economic impact across Africa due to lockdown and consequent changes to everyday activities in social space. Our research question is, what are the positive impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in Africa from 2020 to 2024? And how do these impacts contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals in Africa? So to answer this question, we rely on publisher paper. And we cover the paper published between 2020 to 2024. And we conduct a systematic search and review study. And as you can see on the map, we try to highlight here the number of cases of COVID-19, of cases of COVID-19 pandemic in Africa. So the people with the COVID-19 pandemic, the case. And we documented some interesting findings. The COVID-19 pandemic has predominantly been associated with negative consequences such as economic downturn, food insecurity, healthcare challenges, and social disruption. The COVID-19 pandemic catalyzed progress in many spheres of life across the African continent, such as healthcare, innovation, technological advancement, economic resilience, and community solidarity. So this positive impact highlights the contribution of the COVID-19 pandemic to the development of sustainable development goal, of lot of sustainable development goal, such as good health and well-being, quality education, industry innovation and infrastructure, climate action, and also life on land. So understanding these positive effects is crucial for policymakers and stakeholders to leverage opportunities for sustainable development and resilience in the face of future challenges in Africa and elsewhere. I reached the end of my presentation. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much for this new perspective on COVID-19. Are there any questions from the audience, both online and in the room? Maybe you can stop sharing your presentation, and in case your internet connection allows, you cannot turn on your video, so we can see you.
Okay.
So this research was with institutions from Ethiopia.
It's muted.
Sorry, you're muted.
Hello?
Yes. I'm just wondering, because it seems like paper than what we have on the program.
Connection is a little bit bad from my side. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. But I got confused
Hello?
because what we have on the program is a different presentation than what you presented now. But anyway, maybe there are questions to the presentation that was given. Maybe you can show again how many, or you can tell us how many papers you reviewed for this study.
Okay, how many papers?
It was a literature review, you said. We learned it was a literature review, and then maybe you can share how many papers for this study.
Yes, at the beginning, it was something like 800 papers we have on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. But based on what we are looking for, like the positive impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the study area, which is Africa, when we screen the papers and we remove which is not which didn't fit what we are looking for, we come up now at the end with 40 papers published on the positive impact of COVID-19 pandemic, such as positive impact in environment, education, health, and so on and so forth. So that's what we use for this paper.
In different categories.
Yes.
And they're all peer-reviewed.
Hello?
I was asking if it's all peer-reviewed publication.
Yes, we have peer-reviewed publication. We also have a paper published by a institution such as IFPRI and a lot of others.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maybe there are more questions. Anyone in the online room? Okay, then I would like to thank you very much for joining us and giving us spontaneously this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quickly to come back to the first presentation, Farai was online, but I see now she's gone.
I'm still
Oh, sorry.
here.
Since we didn't have the chance in the beginning to ask, I wanted to ask if there were or there are questions to Farah's presentation, the first presentation we listened to on digital transformation of smallholder agriculture, involvement of smallholder farmers into global production and marketing paradigms. It was a study in South Africa, is that correct? Other question? Maybe I ask a question. So, which digital tools did you investigate for your study? Did you look at apps, or what kind of digital tools were part of your work?
Thank you very much. I looked at mobile apps. So I utilized a multiple case study methodology, and each case was built around a mobile app. I had 4 mobile apps in total that I looked at, and I had split them in 2 groups. So 2 of them were social media based apps, Facebook and WhatsApp, specifically looking at, I selected 1 Facebook group and 1 WhatsApp group for this study. Those were the cases for this study. For the other 2 apps, they were agricultural apps. So one was an input sourcing app. So it was an e-commerce platform where farmers could go on there, register, get technical advice, and source inputs from that app. And the 4th app was an app by an NGO, which was seeking to link smallholder farmers to what they termed high-value markets. So what that app does is help farmers to transition from their low value, in quotation marks, low value production to high value production, and also to using the good agricultural practices paradigm of production, so that they can access high value local as well as export markets. So those were the 4 apps that I utilized in this study. So I selected those 4 to have that juxtaposition between apps that are, if I can say, corporate-led, and agricultural apps that are controlled in terms of the information that is shared there and the interactions, juxtaposing those against the social media-based apps, which are more user-generated content. The content shared there is less controlled, less moderated. So I wanted to see how those 2 different types of apps impact or sort of shape agricultural practices and autonomy of smallholder farmers.
Okay, thank you very much. And you found also that, I mean, is it common in South Africa that smallholder farmers are using those applications or digital ways of connecting?
Sorry, please come again. I missed the first part of the question.
In South Africa, is it common for smallholder farmers to use those kind of tools, or is it something that is like reserved to people who actually have a good access to internet, and therefore it leaves out a number of farmers who might have difficulties to access those digital tools?
Okay, so first of all, in my study, I didn't exactly manage to do a survey to see how many farmers have access to these tools. The farmers that I interviewed, I purposely selected them from the apps. So I went to the apps and got the list of farmers using the apps, and then selected participants for this study. But just from my reading and, not specifically from the findings of my study, many of the South African smallholder farmers do have access to smartphones. And I will qualify this by saying that is because the group of smallholder farmers in South Africa is not the typical smallholder farmer in the rest of Africa. In South Africa, smallholder farmers are a group that starts from those who are just starting to commercialize, moving from subsistence to commercial, all the way to farmers that are making up to R1 million. So, and this goes up to farmers who own pieces of land up to 20 to 50 hectares as well. So those are farmers who are fully commercial, but at a smaller scale than what we term large-scale farmers here in South Africa. So that's why you'll find that a lot of these farmers do own smartphones and do have access to these apps. Were it that I had looked specifically perhaps at farmers who are producing perhaps under 2 hectares of land in rural areas, the smaller, the group at the lower, spectrum of this very, very broad spectrum of smallholder farmers, probably less of them would have access to the smartphones.
Thank you, Farah, for this clarification what smallholders are in South Africa and how they differ from smallholders in other South African countries.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there other questions from the audience? Maybe I can open the floor to all the presentations again. So if there have been urgent questions rising from the participants to any of those presentations we heard this morning, please feel free to ask them now. Almost all the presenters are online. So we'd like to invite you to ask questions if you still have some open questions. Okay, if not, I would like to thank you everyone to stick to the 3 minutes to be here this morning and share your presentations and get involved in the discussions. And I hope you had a good Tag, despite the fact that you could not join us personally, but maybe next year. And we would be glad to see you again. And please continue joining until this afternoon, and also the plenary session later on with the keynote speeches that are coming up later this afternoon. I think they're all very interesting. Please join us through the mobile app or the online streaming portals. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the day and good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You can turn on your cameras just to that we see everyone again. No. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.